But momentum, though, I mean, given what's happened with the UK, France earlier, I mean, momentum is clearly building here. Does it seem inevitable that other countries, including ours, will join the line and declare a state of Palestine?
Well, I don't think we should decide Australia's foreign policy according to some artificial measure of momentum or the international zeitgeist. We should decide it consistent with our national interest and the principles which the Australian government has upheld on a bipartisan basis for decades, which is that, of course, we want two states. Of course, we support peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis, but that we should only recognise that Palestinian state after peace has been agreed and achieved, because otherwise you lose all leverage over the Palestinian Authority. They desperately want to achieve this international recognition, and they would be willing to do some things in exchange for that, including forswearing their desire to destroy the state of Israel in exchange for it. But if you hand over that recognition, you have no further leverage to expect them to negotiate over.
Are you feeling for Israel here, James? I mean, all this increased pressure that it's under, but up until this point, it hasn't given an inch.
Well, actually, I think the Israelis have been negotiating in good faith with American partners and other regional players, including Egypt and Qatar.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of
others,
like resisting all this pressure is what I meant.
Well, I mean, Israel's foreign policy is a matter for Israel as well, but I support their objective of removing Hamas from Gaza, and I support their objective of fleeing the hostages. Any self-respecting liberal democracy would do the same thing in the same circumstances. But at the same time, I do grieve for the very genuine suffering of the people of Gaza, and it is deeply concerning to see the images that have come out of Gaza, particularly in recent weeks. And I do think Israel has an obligation to ensure the people of Gaza are fed.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure that you can answer this question. It just came to me, you know, in the space of a couple of minutes. I mean, I don't think anyone's got the answer. It's why we're still in all of this. But what does a state of Palestine even look like? If it has its own state, what does that even look like? That would take years to work out.
Well, I'm really finding it difficult to answer that question as well, Pete, because no one has really articulated that in a cogent or coherent way. Certainly the Prime Minister has not articulated that. He and the Foreign Minister have moved forward the possible recognition of a Palestinian state with any idea of how that would work. Would there be elections in this Palestinian state? Would Hamas be allowed to contest those elections? How would they be free or fair? How would security or policing be guaranteed? How would we ensure that the terror tunnels get filled in and that they don't just launch another attack on the state of Israel, kidnapping, raping and murdering thousands more Jews, as they have promised to do? I mean, we should take them at their word. They want the destruction of the state of Israel, and no one who vows the destruction of another state deserves the recognition of their own state.
Yeah, I mean, even though they say that Hamas can't play a role in any future government, if this state is declared, James, does Hamas win? Do they win?
Well, frankly, these are motherhood statements from the Albanese government, and particularly from the Foreign Minister, Penny Wong. She often says, well, we've said Hamas has no role. Well, how does the Foreign Minister think that should be achieved? What is the mechanism by ensuring that Hamas wouldn't have a role? The only mechanism to remove Hamas from power is the Israeli Defence Force, and the Foreign Minister has been opposed to the Israeli Defence Force taking the action that's necessary to remove Hamas from power. And so I really think the Australian government's position here is incoherent and inconsistent, and it is driven, let's be clear, by domestic political considerations. We know there's enormous pressure on the Labor backbench from Labor Party branch members, from some unions, from the pro-Palestinian movement in Australia, which is bending the will of this government and has forced it away from historically held bipartisan positions on foreign policy. And I think that reflects very badly on them. All right, we'll leave it there. But the Shadow Finance Minister James Paterson, good to have you with us today. Appreciate it.